Hello everyone, welcome back to Big Nick's Meats and Treats. Today I'm here with my sister Cheryl and we're going to make ooey gooey delicious cinnamon rolls. I've never made them before, but I've eaten them when my sister made them, so she's here to make sure I get it done right. So thanks a lot for coming today, I appreciate it. First thing we need to do is heat up some whole milk to 100 degrees. To make sure I get it to 100 degrees, I'm going to use this ThermoPro TP15 that I use for barbecue stuff. Make sure it gets to 100 degrees. So we're going to get that milk warmed up and we'll be back with you in a minute. All right, we got our 1 cup of whole milk heated up to 100 degrees. I also preheated my oven to 170 degrees. What's the next thing I need to do, Cheryl?
We've heated the milk to 100 degrees, so we're going to put a half teaspoon of sugar and 2.5 teaspoons of active dry yeast.
All right.
And give it a quick swirl.
Okay. And then we got to sit there and wait for a few minutes to let the yeast get going.
5 to 10 minutes till it gets a little foamy.
All right. We'll see you in 5 minutes. Welcome back. Our milk yeast mixture has been sitting for about 8 minutes or so. It's looking nice and foamy. The next thing I'm going to do is take 4 tablespoons of butter that we preheated and then let cool back down to room temperature, and we're going to mix that with a half a tablespoon or 1.5 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. Cheryl, you want to pour that in there? We're going to whisk that in with the butter and 1 egg yolk, and we're going to mix that up there. Once that gets all mixed in, nice. Then we're going to mix that in with the yeast mixture.
Okay, now we're going to start making the dough for the cinnamon roll.
I'm going to mix the dry ingredients together first. I'm going to take 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour, pour it into my mixing bowl, a half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1/3 cup of sugar, and 3/4 of a teaspoon of sea salt. Put that in the mixing bowl, and I'm just going to mix it together with a hand whisk. All right, what's the next thing I need to do, Cheryl?
You need to make a little well in the flour and pour in the yeast and water mixture right in the center.
Okay, I'll make a little hole there down in the flour. Okay, then we're going to pour in the yeast and milk mixture. Use a spatula. There you go. All right, now I'm going to hook my dough hook on, and we're going to mix this for about 2 minutes on low speed. So we'll see you in 2 minutes. So we've let it mix for 2 minutes. During that first 2 minutes, you might have to use the spatula to scrape the sides to get the flour down in there. Now I'm going to crank the mixer up to medium, and we're going to let it run for 5 to 6 minutes until the dough gathers around the hook.
And if you notice that it's not gathering around the hook, you can add up to 2 tablespoons more flour to thicken up the dough a little bit.
There you go. We'll see you in 5 to 6 minutes. So we let it mix for about 8 minutes. We ended up having to add a couple more tablespoons of flour because it was looking a little too sticky. So we added a couple more tablespoons of flour, took the dough off the hook and formed it into a ball, and then we put it in a mixing bowl that was covered in Pam, and then rolled the dough around in the bowl to get Pam all over it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take that oven that we had preheated to 170 degrees, we're going to turn off the oven, and we're going to cover this bowl either with plastic wrap or a towel and put it in that oven with the door cracked 4 to 5 inches or so until it doubles in size. And how long is that going to take?
About 45 minutes to an hour and a half to double.
We'll see you in a bit.
While the dough is finishing rising, we're going to get started on making the filling.
I'm going to start off with 1 cup of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of ground cinnamon, and 1 stick of softened butter. Come out of there. And then I'm going to mix that together in the mixer here. We'll see you in a couple minutes. It's been about an hour. Our dough doubled in size. We took it out and spread it on a lightly floured cutting board, and we rolled it out to about 12 inches by 15 inches. You might have to shape it with your hands a little bit. Try not to overwork it too much. Put a little bit of flour on the rolling pin. Now we're going to take that filling mixture we made, and we're going to spread it out evenly on the dough. Okay, you might have to use different spatulas. Might just blob it on here and
Yeah.
then spread it around. So I'll get that spread on there. We'll see you in a couple minutes. As you can see, we got the mixture all spread out there evenly across the dough. The next thing we're going to do is tightly roll it up. That first roll might be a little tricky to get going, and then we're just going to roll it up. Let's get those beautiful cinnamon rolls. Man, it sure smells good, doesn't it?
It smells really cinnamony.
Nice. I'm having the expert do it right now because she's got it. That dough, by the way, when we were rolling it out, it is so easy to roll out. Super, super easy to roll out.
Stretch back when you're rolling.
Yeah, nice. And it wasn't sticky at all. Nice. Man, that looks amazing. Good job, sis.
Oh, thanks.
You're hired.
Uh-huh.
Nice. So we got that all nice and rolled out. The next thing we need to do now is we need to cut this into 12 even pieces. So you might have to cut the ends off, get a nice square end. And, you know, it's about 15 inches. Actually, this one's probably closer to 18, so we could probably make them, you know, 1.5 inches, something like that. We're using a super sharp serrated knife, and then she's going to set them in this glass baking dish here that I sprayed with Pam ahead of time. We want 12 equal portions here. We're going to finish that up, and then we'll get back to you in a minute. All right, we got the rolls all cut. They're in the baking dish that we sprayed with Pam. Now we have to let them sit probably for another half hour or so till they double in size again. So what we're going to do here is I cranked the oven up to 170 degrees again. We're going to leave the door open, and I'm just going to set them on the door so they get a little heat and they'll rise a little bit faster. So we'll see you in about a half hour. While our cinnamon rolls are rising, we're going to go ahead and start working on the frosting. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take 4 ounces of room temperature cream cheese, 4 tablespoons of room temperature butter, 1.5 cups of powdered sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla, and then just a pinch of salt and a little pinch of ground cinnamon.
A pinch of that.
And then a little pinch of ground cinnamon. And then mix all that together. And this is going to make a really, really delicious cream cheese frosting for those cinnamon rolls when they come out. Mm-hmm. We'll see you in a few minutes. So the rolls have almost doubled in size. We're getting ready to put them in the oven. I've preheated the oven to 375 degrees, but we got one more step before we put them in the oven. What do we need to do, Cheryl?
Pour on the cream.
So it's about 1/3 cup of heavy cream that we heated in the microwave just for like 8 seconds or so, just to get it lukewarm. And just pour it over the tops of them and around the bottom of them. And that's just gonna make them so moist and tender. Nice. So that was 1/3 cup of just real lukewarm cream. Not cold, but not hot. Now I'm gonna put them in the oven at 375 for 17 to 22 minutes or until they're light golden brown and cook through in the middle. So we'll see in about 20 minutes. Well, they've been cooking for 20 minutes and they look good, so let's go ahead and pull them out.
They smell good.
Oh yeah, but boy, that smells good. Oh yeah.
Ooh, nice and brown.
So we're gonna let them sit here on the cooling racks for about 15 minutes, so when we put the frosting on, it doesn't melt all over the place. Man, they sure look good.
Bubbling goodness.
Yeah. We'll see in about 15 minutes, and we're gonna dig into one of these, and we'll share it on Smell-O-Vision with you. See you in a few. So we've been having the rolls cool for about 15 minutes. I think we're ready to go ahead and put the icing on. So the icing that we made earlier, we're gonna spread this on there. Oh boy.
Gosh.
Cinnabon's got nothing on us. Yeah, that's good. I don't know how thick I should put this on, but there's a lot of frosting in here, so. Oh yeah. If you want to make these, say for Christmas, I'd recommend that you do it Christmas Eve, because start to finish is probably 4 hours to get them done. So just for planning purposes, think about that. I want to thank my sister for coming over and doing this with me. She's as much of an amateur enthusiast baker as I am when it comes to doing barbecue and things like that. I'll put some pictures of the amazing cakes and stuff that she's done at the end of the video that you can check out. That's just super, super talented. So I appreciate you
God bless you.
for coming over. All right.
Oh, that looks good.
Should we use all of it?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, jeez. Sorry. Put that on there. And they're still just warm enough that the icing's melting a little bit, so that's cool. All right, so let's dig into one of those things.
Okay.
Which one do you want? This one was the one you
Okay.
wanted? Okay. Not gonna say no?
Nope.
Oh yeah. Get one of those out. Oh my goodness.
Taste test.
Let's take a taste.
Okay.
Oh, they're so soft. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna need some quiet time. These are so good. Next week we'll be doing lemon bars. In the meantime, please click and subscribe down here below, or like and subscribe. Once again, thanks to my sis for coming. Until we see you next week to do lemon bars. You ready? Watch me work, baby. Watch me work.
Watch me work.